Hi guys, so Rishi Sunak got his quote-unquote deal with the European Union, and now we must not refer to that part of the withdrawal agreement as the Northern Ireland Protocol, but as the Windsor Framework. Now I won't get into what has really changed, it's somewhat cosmetic and in a sense adds an extra layer of bureaucracy to any disagreement resolution. But we're here because of the DUP. So are the DUP finally happy? Well, perhaps happy isn't the right word. Satisfied? Well, Sammy Wilson of the DUP had this to say in the House of Commons on Monday evening.
Mr. Speaker, I welcome the 18-minute confession which the Prime Minister undertook about the damage which the protocol which his government signed has done to Northern Ireland. But could I remind the Prime Minister that although he talks about 1,700 pages of EU law being removed from Northern Ireland, hundreds of thousands of pages will still remain. Border posts are still being planned to be built, and the Prime Minister has admitted that future EU laws will apply to Northern Ireland unless, under paragraph 52, his government decides not to proceed with law changes for the United Kingdom as a whole, or he vetoes EU proposals in the Joint Committee. Can he understand why we don't have confidence in that, and why we still fear that our position within the United Kingdom is not going to be restored by this agreement?
Mr. Speaker, I think, as the honourable gentleman knows well, the border posts are there to deal with checks in the red lane, and it's something that was always envisaged. It's always something that we said we would do. It's right that for people trying to smuggle goods into the Republic of Ireland via Northern Ireland, that shouldn't happen, and that's why those posts are there, those inspection facilities, and the investment in them is to make sure that we can do those checks properly, as we assured the European Union we would do, and that's part of having a functioning green lane, is having enforcement of the red lane. To his broader point about EU law, as I said, less than 3% of EU law applies in Northern Ireland. It applies with the consent of the people of Northern Ireland. As he knows, the consent vote next year allows them to remove all of these laws and have a new approach. But it is there because, as we've heard, there is a balance to be struck. And Northern Ireland's communities, businesses do value not having a border on the island of Ireland. They do value their access to the single market. And we're at the position where we have the minimum amount of law required to fulfil that purpose. But I believe sovereignty is important. I believe those laws, as they come through, and new ones, as he mentioned, come through, should only come through with the consent and oversight of the people of Northern Ireland. And that's why the Stormont break is so powerful. It puts power in the hands of the Assembly, of him and his colleagues, to decide what's best for Northern Ireland. That's what sovereignty means to me. It means giving Stormont the ability to say no, and I hope that he will give this framework the time and consideration it deserves.
Okay, this is very interesting. What happened today was very interesting. On Monday, what happened, where the DUP were basically thrown under a bus by the ERG. The ERG pretty much abandoned any sort of resistance to this at all. And the DUP were hoping that the ERG would ride to their side and be their saviour, but no. It's under the bus you go once again. You know, I said this before and I'll say it again. You can't trust Brexiteers. And the DUP continue to trust Brexiteers, hoping that they care about Northern Ireland, they care about the protocol, they care about the Union. They don't. And once again, I don't know how the DUP don't understand that. Now, Rishi Sunak here talked about, in another part of his speech, he talked about the border being removed. The border has not been removed. The DUP were hoping for the border to be removed. The DUP were hoping for the Northern Ireland Protocol to disappear. And in a sense, they got their way. It's no longer called the Northern Ireland Protocol, but the Windsor Framework. So there's a change of name there. Now, when it comes to these green lanes and red lanes, this is actually something that was proposed, similar to this was proposed back in October 2021 by the European Commission. It was rejected at the time by the UK government and then was taken up again by Liz Truss's government and presented as a solution. And then it sort of died down for a while, and now it's been presented once again as a solution to the the problems, quote unquote, with the Northern Ireland Protocol. And it's been rehashed as a new agreement, the Windsor Framework, which I think we're going to have to refer to as going forward. But once again, the DUP got nothing here. The DUP wanted a border removed. That's not happening. And the DUP wanted the protocol, in a sense, torn up, and that's not happening either. It's a change of name. But when it comes to probably the biggest problem for the DUP is getting rid of this. They were hoping, okay, the UK government would get rid of it. No, that's not going to happen. And what Rishi Sunak has done here is delivered a bit of a body blow to the DUP, because he said here that this is going to go back to the Assembly. The Assembly is going to decide next year what happens with the Northern Ireland Protocol, or this framework, which is correct in a sense that there will be a review of the protocol in 2024. But it's looking likely that the Northern Ireland Assembly will back it, because there is a majority of support today. Now, something dramatically could change between now and 2024, but if it doesn't, the protocol is safe in a sense. And there will be a vote. If a simple majority back it, it will be reviewed again in 4 years. But if there's a super majority backing it in 2024, which would be the biggest fear for the DUP, it will be reviewed again in 8 years. So I think for now, unless some dramatic thing happens, the protocol, or the framework, the Windsor Framework, is quite safe. I'm going to upload another video about the Stormont break, which is really interesting, but we'll have to see more detail about it as we go forward. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.